Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. First tonight, police are searching for a pair of criminals who targeted a Kingston store in a shocking armed robbery attack. CCTV vision shows the terrifying moments the owners and customers were confronted by a masked man believed to be armed with a machete.
A shopkeeper busy serving a customer when this masked individual, armed with what looks to be a machete, enters the Hawthorn Drive store demanding goods. A terrified young child moves behind their loved one, then they take their opportunity to run out of the shop.
Witnesses have described him to be a male, possibly youngish, 16 to early 20s.
Police say the offender sped towards the cigarette cabinet, but the clumsy rampage only saw a small quantity of tobacco stolen.
We haven't got a precise amount, but somewhere around the vicinity of 15 to 20 pouches.
While dressed in all black and sporting an unusual accessory.
The gloves worn were greeny coloured dishwashing gloves. We don't see those pulled out too often.
The offender was stopped in his tracks by a store owner's brave attempt to trap the thief inside his Kingston store. While he was busy looking through the shelves, the owner sneaks behind him and locks the store door.
There was a bit of quick thinking on his feet. I wouldn't particularly encourage it, but in this instance it appeared that he was safe to do so.
The masked man, realising he was locked in, using the weapon to smash through the glass door and climbing out to escape. His accomplice waiting outside, both suspects fleeing the scene on foot.
Obviously, we don't want those sort of weapons in the community, particularly used under these sort of circumstances, so it's quite concerning.
The owners, who didn't wish to be on camera, have told 7 Tasmania News they were really scared during the incident, but are thankful no one was harmed. Still on the hunt for the brazen duo, police are urging anyone with information to contact Crime Stoppers. Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
Public Health has confirmed 2 Tasmanian school children are recovering in hospital with COVID-19 and 26 schools are currently experiencing outbreaks across multiple classrooms. This as the state government unveils its updated COVID safety plan for the remainder of Term 1.
For students at Bowen Road Primary, learning has remained uninterrupted in the midst of COVID.
We have athletics carnivals, we've got COVID-safe measures in place. We try and keep things as normal as possible.
But the same can't be said for many other schools across the state. 24 primary schools and 2 high schools have recorded a classified site outbreak.
We do have 2 school-age children in hospital at the moment. Their condition is being monitored by the Health Department.
The state government released its COVID safety schools plan for the remainder of Term 1. Face-to-face learning will continue as normal and RAT tests will be provided weekly.
Lots of hand washing, wearing masks, as I said, a lot of cleaning of our schools in frequent touch points as well, and a continuing investment in ventilation.
The Education Union has cautiously welcomed the strategy, but says plans for upgraded ventilation during the colder months is needed.
The reality is that some schools are having some really big clusters and we need to make sure we provide that safer environment for them.
The Education Minister is confident the sector will cope as daily infections steady out.
Less than 1% of our teachers in the public school system are off work because they have COVID, and less than 1% are off work because they're a close contact of somebody who does as well.
Tasmania recorded 784 new infections overnight. Ainsley Kosh, 7 Tasmania News.
Meanwhile, the Greens are calling on the state government to release public health modelling in Parliament this week to explain why the mask mandate has been lifted in most settings.
Now is not the time to loosen off the protections that we can use for people who are vulnerable and for us to take care of other people in the community.
The Education Minister says there is not one set of guidelines the government can release.
What we do is provide updates on the outcomes of that every day so that people can understand what our plan is and what they need to do to keep themselves and each other safe.
The mask mandate will be scrapped in hospitality venues and office spaces at 5 o'clock on Friday night. Labor's remaining steadfast, pushing for an independent inquiry into the conduct of former Sport Minister Jane Howlett. It's demanding answers when Parliament returns this week about a perceived conflict of interest during her time in the role.
This issue isn't going away. They can't pretend by ignoring it that either we or the community are going to let them get away with this.
The state government has denied rumours Ms Howlett was romantically involved with the CEO of the Tasmania Jack Jumpers while she was Sport Minister, adding there is no basis for an inquiry.
I think this issue is to bed. I mean, at the end of last week, Ms White admitted that she was only working on rumour and innuendo.
Jane Howlett resigned from her ministerial roles following the recent death of her brother. Local GPs are calling for more funding and support to fix a doctor shortage crisis currently plaguing the state. Health authorities say people struggling to access appointments or bulk billing are ending up in emergency care.
A nationwide doctor shortage, firmly sitting in Tasmanian waiting rooms.
I haven't seen it such a difficulty getting for patients to get in and get appointments, and also it's becoming very difficult for us to bulk bill those patients who can't afford to pay a gap.
Saying those who can't get appointments or bulk billing are suffering.
If they can't access general practice, then they often end up accessing A&E. And the other thing is they stay at home till they get more unwell, and then they have to call the ambulance to get some help.
Pushing for extra funding to fill and retain more than 60 GP jobs currently vacant across the state.
One, we can afford to see people who can't afford to see us and bulk bill them, and also we need to be able to attract the younger doctors to come into general practice.
A federal government responsibility directly. We understand they've recently announced another $65 million, I believe it is, to support the recruitment and retention of GPs in remote and regional areas. We'll support that wherever we can.
As calls emerge to boost the Medicare rebate, which has increased from $34.90 to $39.10 in the last decade.
You don't need to be an economist to realise that Medicare rebates haven't even come close to keeping up with inflation.
To increase the Medicare rebate so it is a more sustainable business model for someone to be a GP, for someone to own a GP practice. At the moment, these practices are running on the smell of an oily rag.
Many GPs are currently unable to provide bulk billing, including appointments for children. But Federal Health Minister Greg Hunt says bulk billing is at record highs, with nearly 9 out of 10 visits to the GP free of charge. Ruby Kamain, 7 Tasmania News.
A trial program giving people living with disabilities skills in the kitchen has proven so successful it's expanding. The Abled initiative aims to provide a pathway into employment, with participants now also adding sales to the skills mix.
It takes a certain skill to create a top slice of sourdough, but it didn't take long for Nick Heames to get the hang of it.
Built my skill level up to where come the 4th day I was making bagels and sourdough without having to look at the instructions.
The 29-year-old who lives with a learning disability spent 4 days last year in a commercial kitchen along with 3 other participants learning the secrets of sourdough. He enjoyed the program so much, he's back for round 2.
Coming back next week, excited to do the pizza bases and the pasta.
Abled Kitchen started as a pilot program with funding from the Tasmanian Community Fund.
I think it's just going to really inspire participants to hopefully look for employment in the food space. And that's what the ultimate goal of Abled Kitchen is.
Sandy's sourdough owner Josh Crisp has jumped on board to teach the classes for a 2nd year.
It's just been really good to see the final result of the confidence and sort of being confident in the commercial kitchen space, and maybe they can seek employment in the industry.
The program's taking on 6 participants next week who are all eager to get their hands dirty in the kitchen.
The reason I'm here is to build more skills so I can maybe get a better job one day.
And this time they're taking it up a notch, selling their fresh goods at Launceston's Harvest Market on March 19.
We're really looking forward to seeing the participants out there in the community and selling their products.
Needing one skill at a time. Letitia Wallace, 7 Tasmania News.
A new virtual hazards test is aiming to make drivers safer on Tasmanian roads. The free perception test is now compulsory for learner drivers to pass before sitting their provisional licence test, replacing the former L2S exam. It uses 3D clips to assess a learner's ability to identify and react to dangers faced behind the wheel.
The earlier that you can identify these hazards, the more effectively that you can modify your driving behaviour and make the road safer for you, your passengers and for all road users.
It is absolutely critical. They are overrepresented in our death and serious injury figures.
Transport Minister Michael Ferguson says if provisional drivers don't lose any demerit points, they will receive their full licence free of charge. Launceston's City Mission has received $20,000 towards assisting more disadvantaged young people. The Rotary Club of Central Launceston raised the funds through its Tamar Valley Cycling Challenge in November.
Greatly assist the MISH as it works with young people from 12 up to 25 who experience some challenges around disassociation or anxiety, perhaps just re-engaging with education and finding a pathway to their first job.
The Rotary Club is looking forward to hosting the Cycling Challenge again this year and says it also has some other projects in the pipeline.
We will be again this year working with Circus Quercus and providing support there, but we're also exploring a walking festival for Launceston.
The ride typically attracts around 400 cyclists.
Motorsport legend John Bowe has made a strong start in his Touring Car Masters title defence over the weekend. After starting from 15th, Bowe stormed to the front in both Saturday races at Sydney Motorsport Park. He started from pole position the following day, but lost the lead in the first lap under wet and slippery conditions. He sits at 3rd overall in the championship. Champion Tasmanian mare Still a Star may have only months left in the state. The inaugural All-Star Mile winner will head to the Magic Millions sale on the Gold Coast in May. It's hoped she'll go straight to stud. Longford trainer Bill Ryan revealed the 5-year-old has put on 100 kilos since her final race 5 months ago. Penguins' Dalton Stratton sealed an emphatic win at the Austral Wheel Race in Melbourne last night. The young gun was boxed in at 5th as the bell sounded for the final lap, but sprinted past his rivals to seal the narrow victory. Launceston's Josh Duffy and his WA teammate were also victorious in the National Madison Championship. In a brutal show of strength, Tasmanian Amanda Beams has axed her rivals at the Timber Sports Championship in a record-breaking performance. She sealed the 3rd title of her career in Adelaide and is adamant she's not done yet. Against the sandy backdrop of Glenelg Beach, this was far away from Winkley, but Amanda Beams was right at home.
I'm ecstatic. It's really awesome. So I put a lot of hard work in.
Spurred on by the advice of legendary axeman Matthew Gurr, she chopped, sliced and sawed her way to the Timber Sports Championship.
He said, when you get up on that stage, just go to work. He said, you've done all the training.
And go to work she did, in front of a packed crowd, smashing personal bests in all 3 disciplines, a world record in the underhand chop. A maiden title was out of reach of runner-up Madison Curley in her first competition since having a baby. The name Amanda Beams now reads 3 times on the Timber Sports Trophy, adding to her victories in 2017 and 2019. A legacy she's not finished carving.
I want to get my name on this as many times as I can before I get too old.
Good evening. Launceston, our warmest today, 23 degrees. Hobart 21, Burnie and Devonport both recording 19. Strawn Grove, Bushy Park and the Islands all 21. Friendly Beaches 20, Low Head and St Helens 19. Lengthy sunny periods over the state today, apart from the cloud that sat over parts of the north and the east. Now, low cloud linked to a moist onshore stream affected our region along with the southern mainland coastal areas. A low has whipped up the cloud over New South Wales with a broad band of thunderstorms as well. Tomorrow, the high south of the Bight extends a ridge over Tasmania and Victoria, the trough evident over parts further north. The wind southwest to southeasterly, still chillish with 15 to 25 knot breezes, reaching 30 knots over the north and east, but dropping out over the south later. Swells to 4.5 metres in southern waters. We do have a strong wind warning. Looks like it's from Stanley all the way around and down to Tasman Island. Forecast for tomorrow: Hobart 17, a cool day and cloudy. An early shower for Adventure Bay 18 and just 16 for Tarraleah, a morning shower. Launceston 22 and partly cloudy. 21 for Devonport, bit of cloud over Bridport 23 the maximum. Burnie becoming cloudy, 21 the high, 20 for Strawn with an early shower, cloudy for Marrawar 21 degrees. St Helens 18 degrees, a windy day, 18 for Swansea, partly cloudy for Whitemark and 21. UV still up there in the very high range at 8. Maybe a shower over King Island on Wednesday morning, but mostly fine and partly cloudy. Partly cloudy Thursday too. The chance of fog in the north and a brief shower over the far south and southwest. And the cloud cover continues into Friday. Sunny and 34 in Perth tomorrow. Partly cloudy in Adelaide. A morning shower for Melbourne. More heavy falls of rain expected over Sydney, but sunny and 34 in Brisbane.